CTS, Cognizant Technology Solutions, or in other words, Cognizant, which is known these days, is an American multinational company which is known for its heavy recruitment of students because of its large base in India. And that is one of the best reasons why students prepare for Cognizant, because more recruitment and more chances of getting into the company, right? And in this video, I am going to explain the interview process and the exam of Cognizant Technology Solutions, of my own experiences, and why delay? Let's go right into the video. Hi everyone, for those of you who do not know me, my name is Vivek and I host this channel. I am a 21 VIT graduate from Electronics and Communications Engineering, and in this video I am going to share my Cognizant Technology Services experience, that is Cognizant interview experience. And I was also selected in this company, but I haven't accepted the offer, but I did get the offer. In the first half of the video, I'll be explaining about the exam pattern, and in the second half of the video, I'll be explaining the interview procedure. So if you don't want to look at the exam pattern, and if you are already written the exam and you want to just know the preparation strategies for the interview, you can just skip into that part of the video. Or else if you are new and you are trying for Cognizant Technology Services, you can just start the video and go on with the flow. In the first part of the video, I'll be explaining about the exam pattern, and in the second part I'll be explaining the interview, my complete interview experience, what has happened completely, and how I prepared basically for this Cognizant Technology Services. So yeah, let's start with the exam pattern first. So basically, Cognizant exam happens in the AMCAT platform, and starting on with the test syllabus, it has 61 questions in total, and the allotted time is 240 minutes. Each section is mandatory and there is no negative marking. And coming on with the sectional quiz questions, the first section is quantitative questions and it has 24 questions. The time allotted is 35 minutes. And the second section is logical. It has 25 questions. Time allotted is the same as quants. It is 35 minutes. And going on with the English, it is 1 question and 30 minutes. And the next round would be code debugging. Code debugging, it is also called as automata fix. Actually, this round was present last year, but this year they haven't had this round in the exam. Usually code debugging has 7 questions and it is 20 minutes. We just need to find the errors in each code, and after that we have coding round where we have a couple of questions, usually 4 questions, and each question is given 40 minutes, 80 minutes time, and that is how we need to solve it. And coming on with each sectional times, you cannot skip between the sections, and each section you need to complete, and only then you will be allowed to the next section. So this is how round 1 works. Coming on with the round 2, that is just the programming questions that I have told. There are 2 coding rounds, and your performance here will decide you whether you need to go for GenC or GenC Next. Few people will be selected for GenC Next interviews, and you need to give your GenC Next interviews. In this video, I am going to explain about the GenC interview which I have given, because I was selected for GenC and I wasn't selected for GenC Next. Well, yeah, now I am pretty sure you guys are clear with the exam pattern. Actually, one point you need to note is that every year exam pattern changes, and instead of focusing on exam pattern much, that is, instead of giving your 100% on exam pattern, try to prepare the common questions, that is quantitative, logical, C, debugging, etc. That is common in every company's interviews or every company's exam. So try to prepare those, and even if the exam pattern changes, that will not affect you much. Just before the interview or just before the exam, they will release a mock test or the exam pattern, and according to that you can prepare accordingly. So that is how the exam pattern works. And let's go on with my interview experience, and I am going to explain a detailed analysis of how, being an ECE student, how I faced the GenC interview from Cognizant and how I got selected here. Before we go into the video, I just want to inform you guys that every interview depends on the interviewer and whatever his psychology is, whatever his thinking is. So the difficulty of the interview completely depends on the interviewer, though they have a fixed set of questions of what they need to ask the students. So this is tentative. Every interview cannot be the same as mine, and so don't decide on that issue that whatever questions are asked to me will be asked to you as well. So that will just be a liability and nothing else. Instead, try to understand the depth of the questions whatever were asked for me, and also from this you can just create an experience, and accordingly you can prepare for your experience. So basically, in my interview experience, I divided my interview experience into 4 types. That is, they have asked various questions in a jumbled manner, and I have classified my interview questions into 4 types. First one is ECE, second one is coding, that is CSE related questions, and third one is aptitude related questions, that is logical thinking questions, and fourth one is management or managerial type of questions, that is some situational type of questions you can say. Yeah, so in each section I'll be just explaining you what kind of questions they asked me. Instead of just jumbling all the questions, I have divided into four categories, and now let's see what they have asked me in ECE category. In ECE category, they have asked me about flip-flops and the digital logic questions, and basically also after the digital logic questions, those were mostly basic multiplexer, flip-flop, and the gate level questions. And gate level questions in the sense the logical gate level questions, so arrangement of questions, the output of logical gates, etc. And apart from that, following that, they have also asked physics related questions. I mean, usually this we would have studied in the first year of our bachelor's, that is related to optical fiber or the total internal reflection. Those kind of little conceptual questions of physics were asked, and the interviewer was quite friendly. And even if I didn't know, if I just let him know that I was not able to answer that and I'll be happy to know whatever the concept is, he was happy and he just moved on to the next question. And to be frank, the interviewer was very friendly, very very interactive, and he wasn't very arrogant as some interviewers are. So these are some of the questions in ECE related field. And also he asked me what my favorite subject was in electronics, in ECE related subjects, and I have told him that my favorite subject was power electronics, because I had a research paper and I did quite research in the power electronics field. So he asked me to explain the complete power electronics subject to a layman, that is whoever doesn't know power electronics. I need to explain him what power electronics is. So yeah, I did explain him my complete concepts, whatever I know I tried to explain him, and he was quite satisfactory with that. And apart from that, he also asked me whatever my research was, whatever I did, and what were the uses, what is the productivity of whatever research I have done. And that was the end of electronics related questions. So let's see the computer related questions, that is CSE related, coding related questions. Well, of course, Cognizant is a coding based or IT based field, and the role they are going to take is related to coding, and CSE related questions are going to be more, right? So yes, CSE related questions were quite many compared to the other 3 sections. Firstly, they started me with an easier question. They just asked me to write a palindrome question, and with this they just went on with what languages I know. I coded the program with Java, and though I was not that strong in Java, palindrome was an easy concept, and I did solved that in in Java. And actually they haven't asked me to code the complete question. They just asked me to write the whatever pseudocode or whatever the output was required. Just asked me to type, or if I wasn't able to type, he asked me to explain through words. So he was quite friendly, and this went on very well. So this was followed by, he asked me about what are the complete concepts you know in Java. So yes, he just asked me what are the concepts you know in Java, what are the OOPS concepts, you just explain me everything. Following this, I also told him that I know a little C, right? So he went on to ask the differences between C and C++. That was one question. And this again he went on to ask the difference between C++ and Java. So again I did answer little confused, or I didn't answer it completely satisfied, but yeah, difference between C++ and Java was quite aware. We all know the differences, but C and C++, so that was a bit difficult question. I haven't prepared that much during that time. So this was one such question. Followed by this, the next questions were, following this, they have asked about various Java concepts, the basic Java concepts. This is very important to note that every basic Java concepts of object-oriented programming should be learned by everyone. He asked me the pointer concept and what is the pointer dangling, that is the pointer dangling concept and garbage collection concept. So this was 2 of the concepts he asked me to explain. And following this, he asked me why sorting was important. Sorting, right? He asked me why sorting was important, and I explained him why sorting was important to perform various logic or various other operations. Following this, he asked me what kind of sorting algorithms I know. I mentioned a few, but he didn't ask me to explain individually what were those. So probably he knew that I knew or something like that. but he didn't go deep into that. He just asked me what is sorting, and just whatever algorithms I know, he asked me if I knew any. Apart from sorting, he just went on and asked me in depth what were the different data structures and the different algorithms personally from your bachelor's preparation. I told them pretty much I know most of the algorithms or most of the data structures especially. So he was quite satisfied then, and he asked me about linked list. He asked me about how linked list works and what is the concept of linked list. So that's it. He didn't ask me to code in linked list or code the data structures. He just asked me what are the data structures I know and will I be able to implement those data structures, and from that whatever list I have told. So I have told him arrays, linked list, stacks, queues, etc. And from that he asked me what was the concept of linked structure, linked list, and how to code the linked list if at all we implement it. So this was how the computer section ended, the coding section ended. So let's go on to see the logical questions he asked. He just asked me two logical questions. Well, the first one was, if at all I am given a candle and the complete candle takes about 45 minutes to burn, how will I calculate 30 minutes? So something like this was asked, and mostly you will find all these kind of logical questions on the internet. Better practice some of those. Most probably they are going to ask these kind of questions, or even if they create new questions, you would have already had prior experience. So this was one question. So one whole candle burns in 45 minutes. If you want to calculate 30 minutes, how are you going to use that candle? I am not going to answer this question. If you know the answer, you can just comment the answer in the comment section, or if you don't know, if you are interested to know, do let me know in the comment section. I will reply you with the answer. The second question was, if I have 5 liter jug and 3 liter jug, how will I be able to calculate 7 liters? So this was one of the question. I answered him a usual answer which they do, like the 5 liter jug 2 times and subtract that with 3 liters. So he wasn't satisfied with that answer, and he wanted me to explain some other concept or some other way how to get the 7 liter from 5 liter and 3 liter jugs. So I wasn't able to answer that, and in turn he answered me the question. So yes, he was quite friendly, and logical questions are very important to solve. Mostly they are going to ask 1 or 2 questions depending on the interviewer. So let's go on to see the managerial questions which they asked me. Before this, I just want to mention that any student who goes to the interview and whoever asks me suggestions, I recommend them to check out their resume properly, thoroughly, top to bottom. This is because whatever questions they are going to ask in the interview, that is approximately I can say 50 or 80% are going to be related indirectly or directly to your resume. And most of the questions, technical, non-technical, logical, everything is going to be related to the situations that you have written in your resume, to the positions of responsibilities you have written on the resume, like a club president or various activities like a volunteer you have done at your university, etc. So it is very important to perform or check out your resume completely before attending the interview. If you have done any project, it is your sole responsibility to know the technical aspects, non-technical aspects, how you have done, how you have constructed the project, how you have reported the project, everything, it is your sole responsibility. So remember the fact, it is going to be helpful in every manner. This is because, why I have explained this, because in my managerial question, in my managerial round, I have written on my resume that I was a club president at my university for a year. So he asked me, if at all I conduct a ceremony or I conduct a event at my club, what would I do to organize various names or various data that I get. So I told him I would create an Excel sheet, as obviously everybody would say, but he wasn't satisfied with the answer. Actually, I took a bit time to realize that I actually have written MySQL certification in my resume. So I responded him, I told him that I will create a database of whatever students and whatever queries, everything, and I did mention the few technical aspects about this, that about the students, about the attributes I am going to take, etc. And he was then satisfied. He wasn't satisfied with the previous answer. So if you consider this situation, he connected my position of responsibility of being a club president and my certification course, and he related them, and he asked a question which we weren't able to answer, which I wasn't able to answer. So put yourself in the same situation, cover the resume completely, and this will help you a lot. Second question he asked me was, how will I help a student who is a weak learner in my class. He asked me to give proper reasons or proper explanation. How can I help him? How can I help him excel in academics? How can I help him to talk with other students, etc. This was one of the question he asked. And the second question was, he asked me to state my strengths and state my weaknesses as well. And he was very specific. He told me, it's verbatim, he told me not to cover up your positives with telling it as negatives, so that it gives a positive impression in the interview. He told me to be frank, be open, and just tell the weaknesses. And I did tell him that I sometimes get angry on people, so I told him that. And of course, what is the question going to follow that? He asked me how I am going to overcome my weakness, what I am going to do, and whatever I have done until now, whatever has helped me to overcome this weakness. So this is one important point to note, so kindly remember this as well. So this was one of the questions which was asked in my managerial questions in the interview. And some of the other questions which was asked were related to my project questions. So how would I manage this event, or how would I manage the project, or what kind of research work I have done to achieve this specific project. As I have told him, I had a research paper. And one final question he asked me during the interview was that he asked me, you did a lot of research in power electronics, you have a lot of interest in electronics as well. Why should I hire you? Why should I hire you, or why should you get into an electronic CS related company, coding related or IT related company? You wouldn't last here for so long. If you get into an electronics company, you will just skip, or you will just get out of the company soon. So I gave him an assured answer, and for that I am going to create another video. If you just want the answer for that video, or if the question is going to be why should we hire you, or how can we trust that you are going to stay in our company, I am going to prepare a complete separate video on that. And this is the end of my interview preparation and interview experience. So let's go on to see how I prepared my interview. The last two questions which he asked me were very important, and I think they are going to affect the final result of the interview as well. One question was, I did a lot of research and I presented a lot of research on my resume as well, which is related to electronics field. So he asked me, how is this electronics research going to help you in the work whichever you are going to do in Cognizant, and whatever work I have done in my project and whatever experience I have gained, how is it going to help you in this manner? And the second question which he asked me was, I have done a lot of research in power electronics, so how can I trust you that even if I select you for this job, you are going to stay in this job? So it was my task to convince him that I was the most deserving for this job, that I will not leave this job even if I get it. And for this, if you want the answer for this, and it is going to be pretty long, and I am going to make a separate video on why and how to give an answer for such type of questions. So yeah, this is my interview experience. Let's go on to see my little preparation strategies which I have followed. And to be frank, there isn't much preparation strategies which I have followed for my Cognizant specifically. Whatever preparation I have done for various other companies of TCS or other companies was quite useful. For logical reasoning or aptitude questions, follow one particular website. Like if you want face prep, you can follow that. If you follow prep insta, follow that. Or if you want specific questions to be solved topic wise, follow IndiaBix. So for preparation, follow prep insta or face prep, etc. one particular website. Don't confuse various websites, because each company or each institution is going to give you techniques of their own, and probably that might not match with the other companies. So it is just going to confuse you and nothing else. So do not follow multiple companies for preparation. Try to follow multiple companies for preparation, but not for learning the concepts. So yeah, choose one company for preparation, choose 2 or 3 companies for practice, like IndiaBix or even FacePrep has a lot of questions on their websites, and their YouTube channel is also well presented. You can check out that as well. So those were a few randomized concepts which I have learned. And especially one important strategy which I have followed was, as engineers, every one of us are quite strong in logical or quantitative type of questions, but we are not strong in every logical or every quantitative concepts. Some might not be strong in logarithms and pipes and systems work concepts. I was weak in these concepts, and so instead of solving every question at random, I have selected this particular concept, this particular criteria, and I try to solve as many questions as possible until I am strong in this concept. So this is how I try to prepare my stuff, and this was how I got strong in my logical and quantitative reasoning as well. And apart from that, English is not required. You don't require to practice for English daily. Instead, try to read newspaper, try to read any novels or books, let it be sci-fi or fiction, anything, and try to read some autobiographies, so etc. So you don't need to read pages and pages or books daily. You just start gradually, and that is going to help you in English in any other company, not just this. So this is one more strategy I followed, though this is a long-term experience which you need to implement in your schedule. It is going to help you effectively. I am telling you, trust me, it is going to help you in a drastical manner. So this is one of the strategy which I followed. And the other thing I followed was taking the notes and writing the formulas of every concept whatever I have learned. So pipes and systems or various other work concepts required various techniques. For example, phase prep had a method called chocolate method, where we need to split the work according to the chocolates, and so that is one concept I have learned. So the concept which we learned today isn't going to be remembered tomorrow, right? So this concept is newly learned, and I know I need to implement this in exam as well. This is going to help me because AMCAT is a platform where you need to solve your questions seriously fast, especially for Cognizant kind of exams. So here I just wrote down all these formulas whatever are required, and this is how I improved my logical and concepts of logical and quantitative as well. So these are my some of preparation strategies. Probably these are useful, and I am going to prepare a separate video of how to prepare for every IT company in a general manner, and this is how I prepared for Cognizant in general. So this is how I prepared, and that's the end of the video. So in that video I am going to prepare a cumulative strategies, and I'll ask students who have prepared for their IT service companies, and I am going to prepare a common strategy which can be implemented for every company or every IT company you use. You just need to implement those tactics into your schedule, and it is going to be productive. I trust me. I'll plan accordingly whatever you need to learn. However, you need to change your schedule, whatever you need to prepare for your IT services, and that would be enough. So just wait for that video, stay tuned to my channel for that video, and that's it. That's the end of the video, guys. Thank you so much for staying out so long. In this video I have covered my interview experience at the Cognizant, my exam experience, that is a pattern of the exam, and whatever preparations I have followed and whatever probably you can follow in your preparation as well. Soon stay tuned to my channel for the video which I have told before about the common strategies which you can use to implement in the every IT services, and which is going to increase your probability of selection. Stay tuned to my channel, you are going to get that video soon. And if you like the video, do like, share and comment, and subscribe to the channel for many such content. Perhaps if you are interested to go to other country for your masters, or to the United States for MS in the US, you can check out another series which is present on my channel. It is called Masters Abroad series, and there are a lot of videos, and even those videos roll out probably on weekly basis whenever I am free. If you want that series, or if you just want to check that out, or probably if your friend is interested to study Masters Abroad, that video link is in the description. Do share it out and do check out as well. Thank you so much for staying out so long once again. This is Vivek signing off. Stay safe, stay informative. Thank you so much.